Welcome back to the Lance Wallnau Show. You know, this show is going to be airing for our group whenever it airs, but I put it on Sunday at Real America's Voice. And Real America's Voice it's like all 6 days is Bannon's War Room, and then on Sunday they'll have Jensen Franklin and different preachers, and it's kind of hard to fit what I do in there because I'm doing current events. But it's I talked to this guy at Salem once. He said, Lance, it's hard to figure out where to put you because you're too Bible focused for the conservative audience. You're too conservative for the Christian audience. I am out there in my own world. So that's why we have Chelsea with me today. She's filling in for Mercedes. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Chelsea keeps me up to date with current events, as millennials do, as I miss it. For instance, I did not catch the whole American Idol revival going on. I mean, you introduced me to it. It was like Carrie Underwood, Brandon Lake, and it was like singing worship songs on American Idol. I said, what was that? Was that a special Easter thing or what? I mean, It's a big deal. Millions of people watch American Idol. I don't. My audience might not, but we should know God's showing up. What happened?
Well, I saw the clips online after it aired. So I believe it was on Easter. They had like a 3-hour special or something where they did a whole worship night on American Idol. And this was on ABC, on Hulu, like in the mainstream. And it's pretty cool. I've noticed over the last couple years, I've been seeing more like Christian music appear on American Idol every now and then, and people like Jelly Roll.
Well, there is something God's doing. I'm going to share with you today. You won't get this in the news because it's all tariffs and Trump's chaos, blah, blah. And you got to really know how to zone out from that world to know what's actually happening, which is not covered by the media. Folks, there's something happening. You need to know we're in the beginning of the third great awakening. I want to keep telling you that because don't expect Rachel Maddow to announce it. You're in the early days of the third great awakening. So collaborating with Jelly Roll on his hard-fought Hallelujah, the quote he has is, they were sharing what it's like to walk through battles and still choose to lift up a song of hope. And I mean, this is big business. The Winans were there, 17 million records. She was invited to sing The Goodness of God. I don't know if we have that, but even former Judge Katy Perry was in tears, which takes a lot to get her to cry and remember her Christian upbringing in church. But it was like a spontaneous worship service. Even backstage, they were worshiping. And it goes to something that you're not hearing much of. I want you guys, grab the article there that's about the commitment to Jesus on the U.S. hits a 10-year high. Now, my friend George Barna, who I affectionately call the Dr. Kevorkian of data, is always giving me bad data. When I ask him for numbers, it's always the decline of this and the deterioration. But George is shockingly coming out with this new study that shows 66% of U.S. adults now say they have made a personal commitment to Jesus. Man, when you've got over half the country has made a personal commitment to Jesus, folks, does that even make sense to you that that's possible? It marks a 12-point increase since 2021, and Barna's been tracking this dystopian number for 30 years, and suddenly he's saying something is happening. Nearly 30 million more adults in the U.S. say they have made a decision for Jesus, and it's hard. They don't quite know what happened, but it's the clearest trend that they've seen in more than a decade. Now, the growth is especially high. I want you to hear this. This is encouraging. Concentrated among Gen Z, the Zoomers, and millennials, men who reported a 15-point increase in personal commitments to Jesus between 2019 and 2025. The millennial men reported a 19-point increase over the same period. Now, they were low, but now that they're coming up, something is happening with men. Something is certainly happening with young men. Nearly 3 in 10 people who do not identify as Christian, they don't quite know what to do with the Christian label, but they say they're following Jesus. It's kind of like it's like the early Jesus movement where they don't recognize their affiliation with church, but they recognize their affiliation with Jesus, is what that says. And I would say that this is part of the reason why you have to realize there is a shift happening, and it's happening with conservative orientation. Like, I think it's the cumulative effect of Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and Joe Rogan and Charlie Kirk. And as a matter of fact, I think you might have a Charlie Kirk video.
We do.
Play cut 4 with Charlie. I want to see what he's doing on college campuses. Here he is at Texas A&M. Look at that. Texas A&M, folks. For those of you in the podcast, that is a massive, full event. Now it's outdoors.
But this is happening everywhere at all these colleges he's going to.
It's happening all over. And right now, I was just raising $1 million 2 weeks ago out at an event for the campus outreaches of Turning Point Faith, which is bringing the gospel to these campuses. And what's interesting about this, in my opinion, is the data. My opinion is that the girls will follow the boys. Now I'll tell you why I say that. Because the young men on the campuses are making this hard turn towards conservatism and explain. Of course, the moment you start going down the road of conservative, what you're really saying is there's a set, like, the Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro world. Hey, man, you can't subjectively define reality. Because reality is reality. So there's a set of laws that govern the universe, and there's even laws that govern the moral universe, and certain things can be fundamentally right or fundamentally wrong. And how's that working out for you, is what Jordan Peterson would say. When you go on the wrong, you start creating the world the way you want it rather than recognizing the way gravity really works. And so it starts moving you on a continuum where you go, well, if there's real laws, is there a source of cohesion in the universe? Yeah, it's not random. It's not chaotic. There's a design. Oh, in the beginning was the Word. And I don't even think this takes into account stuff like The Chosen, because, I hang around with Angel Studios guys and the folks that make the movies and the TV series. And I don't know. I mean, how many millions of people? Can you check that out? How many millions of people have viewed The Chosen, any episode of it? I mean, you've heard of it, haven't you? Even I go through DFW, like the airport, and when it's on the cover of like Entertainment Weekly or something like that, and you look at a magazine, it's secular, and there's the Jesus actor, on The Chosen. It's a phenomena that's taking place because millions, verily, who knows, up to hundreds of millions of views have happened. What do you got, Chelsea?
This says, as of April 2025, The Chosen has been viewed by an estimated 280 million people worldwide and has amassed over 900 million episode views, solidifying its status as one of the most watched faith-based series globally.
900 million is close to a billion. It ain't done yet. I mean, it's coming to the high, it's come to the, the high point. I guess, did they cover the crucifixion? Did they come up with those episodes yet? I'm going to binge watch. I know how the story goes. I've been reading the Bible, but I mean, I haven't. I stopped watching the episodes, so I got to catch up.
As of the last I watched it, they hadn't gotten there yet. But I wish we had pulled this. There's this really funny trend online going, and it's like when Jesus is proud of me, and it's a picture of the guy from The Chosen playing Jesus, and he's like really happy and hugging you. It's pretty funny. There's a whole trend going on right now.
Yeah, he's like a strong Catholic. There's a lot, and Catholicism is on the rise. Now, here's my theory. I want to go back to my theory. As the young men go, the girls will go. Because once the males go from being beta males, being led by the weird, woke, abstract world of whatever, and they start coming into this longing for challenge and structure. Michael Knowles is another influencer in this world, a young guy who's Catholic. And the reason why Catholicism is having such an uptick is because evangelical Christianity, unfortunately, was so focused on like a Tony Robbins emphasis on living the best life that it doesn't challenge young men in terms of responsibility and sacrifice and meaning and suffering. And that's what young men respond to. They want that. They don't want to be, a flower child. They actually want a challenge. So the Catholic Church gives you rules, surprisingly, and order and hierarchy, and there's a yearning for that kind of order in the chaos of the universe. So I believe girls are going to start following boys, and the men will lead, and that's the way it ought to be. But that's also a biblical concept about what God does in the last days. When we come back in a second, I'll show you where that is in the Bible. I want to take a moment to talk about the volatile financial time that we're in. And I want you to empower yourself with knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge, the Bible says. Visit lancewallnau.com/Birch and get a free information kit. Consider discussing how to shift your 401k or your retirement account into a tax-sheltered gold and silver account. Why don't you go to lancewellnow.com/Birch right now and take action for a secure future.